Seems like an ordinary dinner, doesn't it? Family, food, laughter. But in those water glasses lies an invisible threat. They're called PFAS, also known as forever chemicals. And yes, they might already be in your home.
PFAS, you might be thinking, what even are those? Well, here's the catch. You probably have them in your bloodstream right now. Most of us do. So today, let's unravel the mystery, how PFAS ended up in our lives, what they do to our health, and how we can fight back. PFAS, short for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, were hailed as a scientific marvel when they were created decades ago. These chemicals are practically indestructible thanks to their super-strong carbon-fluorine bonds. They repel heat, water, and oil, making them incredibly useful in everyday products. But here's the downside. Those same properties also make them a disaster for the environment and our health. PFAS don't stay confined to the products we use. Manufacturing plants, firefighting foams, and industrial waste have contaminated rivers, groundwater, and even the rain. Today, millions of people unknowingly drink PFAS-contaminated water. To understand PFAS's real impact, meet Maria, a single mother living in a small, struggling town. Life is tough enough here, but things took a heartbreaking turn when her young child began facing developmental delays and chronic respiratory issues. One day, Maria's little one asked her, "Mama, why am I always sick?" Imagine that pain. Only after community testing did Maria discover her water was laced with PFAS, courtesy of a nearby chemical plant. Maria's story highlights the dangers of PFAS exposure. These chemicals bind to proteins in our blood, interfering with hormone regulation, immune function, and metabolism. They've been linked to cancer, liver damage, and developmental issues in children. Here's where it gets frustrating. Countries like Denmark and the European Union are taking action, banning many PFAS compounds. Meanwhile, in the United States, federal regulations are lagging. Some states, like California and New York, have introduced bans on PFAS in firefighting foams and certain products, but comprehensive nationwide legislation is still pending. The EPA has proposed drinking water standards for PFAS, but they're not finalized. And while laws like the PFAS Action Act aim to regulate and clean up contamination, we need faster, stronger action. For families like Maria's, every delay matters. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but there are ways to reduce your exposure to PFAS and demand change. Let's start with small everyday choices. Be mindful of what you buy. Look for PFAS-free labels on non-stick pans, waterproof clothing, and stain-resistant furniture. You don't have to replace everything overnight, just make smarter decisions going forward. Then there's water. Instead of bottled water, invest in a quality filter certified to remove PFAS. It's a small but crucial investment in your health. And finally, get involved. Support organizations like the Environmental Working Group or join community efforts advocating for stricter regulations. For instance, in North Carolina, residents successfully sued Chemours, forcing the company to fund cleanup efforts. In Michigan, grassroots activism led to some of the strictest PFAS standards for drinking water in the country. Change starts with people like you. Maria's story has a hopeful twist. After learning about the contamination, her family got a water filter. It's a small step, but it's a start. Small steps lead to big changes when we come together. So, what will it take for all of us to enjoy truly clean water? The answer lies in our choices, our voices, and our collective action. Together, we can make the difference. Thanks for watching. If this video opened your eyes, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe for more content like this. Together, let's keep the conversation going and the change coming.